Hey guys, it's me again, Eric here at Mountaintop 9, and tonight I want to talk about the classic Mercyful Fate album, Don't Break the Oath. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if I had to put this album in a head-to-head matchup with its predecessor, Melissa, Melissa would come out on top for me. And one of the biggest reasons for that, okay, the biggest reason would probably be the fact that I like the fuller, more dynamic sound on Melissa. I just feel like the production on Melissa is better rounded. There's more of a bass presence. It's just a sound that you can really fall into and just kind of swim around in like a hot swimming pool in burning hell, you know what I mean? Whereas Don't Break the Oath, this album, the first thing that'll hit you as soon as you hear the opening cut, A Dangerous Meeting, the sound is very thin. There's a lot of reverb going on, and it's an atmospheric sound in that sense, but there's just not enough bass. There's just not a well-rounded, there's just not enough oomph to it, you know what I mean, to just send you over the cliff. So that's why if you posed the question to me, if you said, Eric, do you like Melissa or Don't Break the Oath better, I would definitely go with Melissa. But Don't Break the Oath is still a classic. It is still a masterpiece of the highest order because besides that little quibble, besides the fact that the sound is just not as, doesn't make as big of a well-rounded impact, it still has classic songs. The tracks on here are incredibly well written. We've got Hank Sherman turning in another fine writing performance. He wrote a huge chunk of the music on this. We've got riffs flying at you left, right, and center. King Diamond also really went above and beyond and composed two classics on his own, music and lyrics, and I speak of The Oath and Come to the Sabbath. Both of those are bona fide masterpieces of the highest order, and they were composed top to bottom by King Diamond himself. And then Michael Denner also got involved on the songwriting front. He helped compose Desecration of Souls. Also, he worked with King Diamond on Gypsy, and he composed the fantastic, the very moving and emotional instrumental to One Far Away. So we've got some fine contributions from all of these gentlemen. Now, without any further bullshit, let's get right into it. Let's start talking about the first track right away, A Dangerous Meeting. The thing that is really great about this tune is just the sense of dread and the sense of atmosphere that's built up right from the start. And you'll notice it's just this, the very first riff, it just seems like it's building towards something. You can feel that atmosphere just simmering, and it's just getting ready to explode. And when everything finally launches in, when you get into that verse riff and the drums come in really hard with it, it's a really pounding riff, and it gets into your head. And if you don't headbang to this shit when it starts playing the first time you hear it, then man, I don't know, you might have ice water in your fucking veins. You may not be alive. You might need to go down to the local emergency room and have them check your goddamn blood pressure, because I don't know what's wrong with you. If you don't start to rock out from the moment this song starts, I can't help you. And then the lyrics. King Diamond delivers this morbid tale of a clandestine group of 7, and they're getting together and they're holding some kind of fucking seance or something. They're trying to reach out to spirits from the other world. When he says, tonight the circle is meeting again, who will be the first to fall in trance? He delivers those lines in such an ethereal way. He sounds like a spirit from the other world, okay? He sounds like this malevolent force that's out, to drag these humans off into some sort of abyss somewhere, okay? Even though the sound doesn't have quite the bassy, full, well-rounded presence of Melissa, something about this album still sounds really hot. It sounds very churning still, despite that fact. I guess it's from the reverb and just the way the instruments sound. There's just something about the atmosphere. You just really get drawn into this. It's so theatrical, and it just goes on and on like that. This song goes through so many catchy parts. There's really not one boring moment in the opening song. A Dangerous Meeting is just a cool song from beginning to end. Just great riffing. And then the way it ends when King says, some people have lost their way, some people have lost their mind. That is classic stuff. That's the way you end a heavy metal song as far as I'm concerned. Now, the next track, Nightmare. That for me is the gift that keeps on giving, because a song like A Dangerous Meeting, it's just like, it's like the hit single of the album, if you will. Now you guys know what I mean. Obviously A Dangerous Meeting wasn't playing on the local fucking radio station. I mean as far as we heavy metal fans are concerned. We all know A Dangerous Meeting. We've heard it time and time and time again. But a song like Nightmare, it's the kind of song a true heavy metal fan can keep listening to over and over again because it hasn't been overplayed, and there are also so many different aspects to this track. It just goes from one riff to another. Hank Sherman is on fire as far as songwriting is concerned, because I think this song flows really well. You know, a song like Satan's Fall, you can kind of tell that that track was put together, you know, kind of in a makeshift fashion, where it was just playing connect the dots with different movements, trying to connect different riff patterns, and then one ends here and saying, okay, can I put this riff after that? And, you know, just kind of putting it together piecemeal. Well, on Nightmare, you know, you really get the feeling that this song just came out a little bit more organically. Even though it goes from one movement to another, it just feels like it's very fluid. It feels like it flows very well. And the lyrics on this one are very arcane. You know, the song is called Nightmare, so we can only surmise by the title, and also just glancing at the lyrics, which are kind of vague. It just seems like, you know, King Diamond is spinning some nightmarish shit here, talking about a coven, I think is, you know, trying to lure him into madness, you know, and at the end you hear all that chanting where he's doing those "you are insane" voices in a really mocking tone. And what I like about this song, I really like the section in this song where you hear some really cool Maiden-esque melody lines. You know, you hear those in a certain part of the song. So this song just has it all. Now, when we get to track 3, Desecration of Souls, what is really cool about this one is at the beginning how King Diamond shows off a little bit of a growl there. You know, he really gets real theatrical on our ass in this song, you know, at the beginning when he says, "Stay away, white magician, young lovers, and mourning wife." That whole part, I like that growl he does. Now, some people might think it sounds a little cheesy. They might get a little bit of laugh out of it. But hey, they're probably the same people that probably laugh at King Diamond when he's singing in his normal fucking voice. So who gives a shit what they think? So he does that goddamn growl at the beginning. And then after that slow build up there, the song gets going. We got some more hot churning riffs from the bowels of hell, and he's just laying out this really cool tale, and this song is catchy as hell. It really is. And my favorite part is when he's singing about the young lovers who apparently they like to go to the cemetery and they like to have sex at the gravesite, alright? Because he's weaving together lines like copulation, in the night, two shadows upon a grave, and I love that part later on when he says, "Young lovers, you must be insane." And I'll tell you what, it is just such a great, majestic moment at the end of that section when King Diamond belts out the lines, "So I say again, stay away. It's desecration of souls." And you know the way he puts out that souls line there. It's the layering of voices, the way he's got his lower register and then he's got the high falsetto saying the same line, and it's just pure heavy metal brilliance because it takes you to another goddamn plane. So that's a great magical part of the song, and it's super catchy. And that's the cool thing that a lot of these newer bands, when they're trying to get a Mercyful Fate type vibe, they can never get right. And you know why? Because they can mimic the music in a lot of cases. And I'm specifically thinking about a band like In Solitude. On their first couple albums, they went for a very Mercyful Fate, you know, derived sound. You know, it was so obvious. But vocally, just, oh man, the vocals were just workmanlike. I mean, they just, on those In Solitude albums, they could never get, like, the catchiness. They couldn't take it to the next level like a singer like King Diamond can, you know, because he's one of a kind, he's enigmatic, he's just a powerhouse. And he's on top of this great music, just putting out catchy fucking vocal melodies. And that's what a lot of bands don't seem to understand. It's one thing to have the good music. Yeah, you can pump out good riff after good riff, but you need a vocalist on top of that that's really dynamic and that can just go from one extreme to another as far as, you know, pitching their voice, coming up with catchy vocal melodies. I cannot stress that enough. You can be only a somewhat above average singer, but if you can't come up with good vocal melodies, you're screwed. Well, King Diamond obviously never had that damn problem. He was always able to come up with a catchy vocal line where it really counted. And on Desecration of Souls, this shit is on fire. It's another classic on this album. So I gotta tell you right now, Dangerous Meeting, classic. Nightmare, classic. Desecration of Souls, classic. Now, when we get to Night of the Unborn, which is track 4, what I like about this song is the way King Diamond sounds even more operatic. He's really stretching his voice and doing all kinds of unique things in the verse lines of this song. You know, he's just going from one point to another, and it sounds very kind of, you're almost like, is this gonna work or not? I mean, maybe the first couple times you hear a song like Night of the Unborn, you might think that King Diamond is he's reaching a little bit too much in the song because he really sounds all over the place. I mean, he really sounds like a car that's really just right around the cliff, like it's just gonna careen right off the fucking edge of the cliff. But somehow he keeps control of the vehicle and he keeps it on the damn road. And the more you listen to it, the more it weaves its dark, enchanting spell. I think this one's very eerie in parts. He really sounds, just like I said in the first track, A Dangerous Meeting, King Diamond sounds very ethereal and otherworldly. It's creepy stuff. This is a good one as well. More razor hot riffing, more great leads. We've got that from top to bottom on this album. But now we arrive at track 5, which in my opinion is one of the greatest heavy metal songs ever written, and it's called The Oath. And right at the start, it builds a super atmospheric horror film backdrop. You've got wind sound effects, a roaring thunderstorm in the distance, you've got that creepy organ, and then you've got King Diamond delivering this satanic prayer where he's saying stuff like, by the symbol of the Creator, I swear henceforth to be a faithful servant of his most puissant archangel, the Prince Lucifer. So right away, that is something that if your parents saw that back in the mid-80s, it would probably give them a fucking heart attack if they saw words like that. And it takes me back to my childhood, because when I was a teenager, I liked to copy the lyrics from this song down on a piece of paper and just leave them laying in my fucking bedroom just to scare my stepmom. I used to like to do stuff like this. I wrote down the lyrics from this song, okay, on a piece of paper, and I put them up on my door in my room just to shock, you know, just for the shock value. Plus, I love this song, so, you know, you get the best of both worlds. But anyway, so the song starts with this satanic prayer, and then you hear this ominous laughter, and then boom, you get this great, it's just like, kind of like the feeling you get from listening to a good galloping Maiden song. Well, you've got that great galloping feel in here right from the jump when the first riff comes in. It's got that epic heavy metal feeling, and, it's just so cool. The words, everything in this song is just so blasphemous and shocking. Now, nowadays, these words wouldn't shock anybody, all right? If you're a metal fan, I mean, who's going to be shocked by this in this day and age? But back then, it sure as hell was. When I was a kid, these words were shocking. But for me, nowadays, the greatest aspects of this song are the vocal delivery from King Diamond. He is on point. He delivers one of his most fantastic performances of all time is on this song because he has to do so much. He has to hit so many different notes in this song, so many different catchy ways that he phrases the various lines, and also it's an epic song. There are many riffs. King Diamond himself did the music to this song, and he stacked this song with great quality riffs, and it just goes from one catchy part to another. This isn't unengaging progressive type music. You know, a lot of people will like progressive bands where there are many different movements in a song, many different cool interludes and passages. Well, this song has all that, but it never gets stale. It always stays fresh. No matter how many times I listen to this song, The Oath, it never grows old to me. It just never does. My favorite riff in this song is when things start to get really serious. It's that part when King Diamond says, "As a being now possessed of a human body." You know, that section right there. Man, is there a great riff right in that part. It makes you want to take your hand and just punch through a pane glass window. It's just so aggressive, it's so strong, and it exudes power. And so, yeah, man, The Oath, from start to finish, just so much goodness on display in this song. And there's just this great epic feeling to it. You know how it starts off on a creepy note? Okay, and then the lyrics are super satanic and just filled with shock and awe. But what is so cool about this song is that it encompasses so many different feelings. It starts off on that creepy note, but as you go through the song, we've got moments of power, we've got moments of elation even, and just moments of even like sadness. There's just so many different emotions interwoven in this damn thing. I mean, that part at the end there when King Diamond says, "As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, a world without end. Amen." It just sounds so, it just lifts your spirit. Alright? That part at the end there, it just really lifts you up, and that's something that those great traditional heavy metal tunes always did, is they could just make you feel like you're just riding high. And this song goes out on that note. It goes out on a very triumphant note. That's why I say I put this song, The Oath, up there with tracks like Hallowed Be Thy Name, and just all kinds of Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath. You know, just think, insert whatever great heavy metal epic you want to, okay? Whatever traditional heavy metal classic you want. Well, The Oath belongs right on there, right up on a pedestal, like on that Mount Rushmore of metal. Well, The Oath belongs there most certainly, and it's just as strong a track as any of the best tracks on Melissa, okay? So The Oath, man, great tune, and it's one that I love to play on guitar. I taught myself how to play every damn riff in this song, and then, you know, over time got better and better at it, and yeah, man, just so good. So, now, after The Oath, we move on to a song called Gypsy. Now, Gypsy is a track that I think I've heard just one too many damn times, and even if I hadn't heard it too many times, because let's face it, like I said, I've listened to The Oath over and over and over and over, but that damn song never gets old to me. Well, Gypsy, I guess it's just not as good a quality a track as The Oath. I mean, and that's putting it mildly. There's no way you could even put a song like Gypsy anywhere near the same hallowed air, that same plane that a track like The Oath resides in. No, Gypsy comes nowhere near close to that track. It's got a catchy riff the first time you hear it, alright? And the first few times you hear it, you'll think, ah, yeah, Gypsy, that's got a nice catchy riff to it. But it's superficial. There's nothing beneath the surface to this song. It's one that you just get tired of after you've heard it a certain set number of times. It's usually one that I skip. Like I said, I got tired of this song a long time ago. So, it's a good song. Definitely not bad, but it's not great. For me, Gypsy is the most skippable track on Don't Break the Oath, dare I say. Okay? I know that may shock some people. I bet you there's some people that Gypsy's one of their favorite songs on this album, but I'm just not that into it anymore. I usually skip this one. Now the next song gets things back on track as far as I'm concerned. It's a song called Welcome Princes of Hell. Now notice I said princes, not princess. Well, when I was a teenager, I thought this song was called Welcome Princess of Hell. And that's because that's what my damn CD said. It misled me. It turns out that that was a printing error that just went on for years and years because a lot of people were misled into thinking this song was called Welcome Princess of Hell. So I always thought King Diamond, you know, he was singing another song, another shout out to some witchy woman, just like on Melissa. I thought he was singing about some other sultry, sexy, dark angel of the night. Well, no, it turns out he's saying princes. Okay, so he's talking about some of his friends coming over and holding seances and drinking beers or whatever the fuck they would do, playing with a Ouija board. But anyway, you know, writing some cool fucking riffs, whatever. The point is that this song rocks. I like the hot, sinful, rocking nature of this song. Think the kind of boiling atmosphere that would get on a song like Burnin' Up by Judas Priest, you know, off the Hellbent for Leather album. You know, it's got that kind of feel to it. Welcome Princes of Hell, it has that same feel. You know, when I listen to a song like Burnin' Up, for example, I just get this idea of a guy with a bottle of Jack Daniels, kind of get images of some scantily clad chicks and maybe some fast cars, you know, shit like that. All the heavy metal cliches of the time period. Well, that's what Welcome Princes of Hell kind of exudes to me. It's got that type of vibe to it, so I like that sinful type sound. It's got a rocking type sound. The riff is very simple, direct, and heavy. It's a standout cut on the album. It's definitely one of my favorites, and when I was growing up listening to this album a lot, it was one of the first songs on this album that I was able to teach myself how to play the guitar. I was able to teach myself how to play the riffs to this song, okay? You know, a song like Nightmare and, you know, other shit on this album, A Dangerous Meeting, The Oath, stuff like that. I was not at that level yet as far as being able to play a lot of those riffs and string them together and everything. But a song like Welcome Princes of Hell, I was able to, you know, kind of learn it. It's a little bit more simple and it's direct, just like I said. So I have great memories of listening to this tune and rocking out. So definitely a standout cut on the album. Now the next track is called To One Far Away, and I mentioned it earlier. Michael Denner really set a high bar with this tune as far as, you know, short little instrumental interludes go. This one just packs a punch because it's just so very emotional. And you've got King Diamond delivering some very touching vocal flourishes on here. And it just takes it to another level. I really wish it would have been cool to hear this one stretched out even longer. I mean, this thing isn't even 2 minutes long. I don't believe it is. I think it's under 2 minutes, and it could almost bring a damn tear to your eye. What a beautiful piece of music. But it's the next song, the finale to this fantastic fucking album, and it's called Come to the Sabbath. And King Diamond said, you know what? I already wrote one stone cold classic on this album, The Oath. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna try to one-up that damn song. So I'm gonna come out with a song called Come to the Sabbath, and I'm gonna talk about all my demonic friends and witches and warlocks, and we're gonna go down to that fucking bridge, and we're gonna try to raise Satan, and that's what the lyrics are about. You know, more horror film type, just that whole feeling, you know, you get when you listen to the words to this song. When you're saying stuff like witches and demons are coming, it's really hard not to get, like, images of some kind of satanic horror film in your head, you know, complete with upside down crosses and virgin sacrifices and all the rest. So, man, it just doesn't get any better than this. But what takes it to the next level, of course, is we already have these lyrics that are just over the top evil, and we have the great vocal performance, but we also got one great riff after another. I mean, these riffs are super catchy, and they rock. the most important thing, and I've probably said this in other Mercyful Fate videos, these riffs rock. It's not just that they're stiff, rigid slabs of monolithic heaviness. No, nothing like that. Nothing stiff. Nothing abrasive. No, with Mercyful Fate you get feeling, you get passion, you get that hard rock type feeling that makes you want to move your body. Well, that's what you get on Come to the Sabbath. It sends you going off into that dark moonlit night with a vengeance, but in a rocking way, okay? You're able to bang your head to this, you're able to crack open a few beers, and just get the best of both worlds, because you get the heavy metal malevolence, but you also get that party, hard rock type feeling as well. So it's the complete package. I don't know how more people weren't into Mercyful Fate. Mercyful Fate should have been way bigger than it was, okay? You know, King Diamond went on with the solo career and was able to achieve quite a bit of success, and much more so with King Diamond solo than Mercyful Fate. Mercyful Fate never achieved quite the level as far as sales as King Diamond solo did, and that's a damn shame, because god damn the riffing on here. And then those words at the end, when it's doing that catchy fucking 70s hard rock style riff. You know the riff I'm talking about, that down, 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 down. You know what I mean, man. When it's doing that riff and King Diamond in between that, when he's saying, if you say heaven, I say a castle of lies. You say forgive him, I say revenge. Oh, man. And then he says, my sweet Satan, you are the one. And then the way it echoes out into the fucking, just out into nothingness, just echoes out there, just leaves that message in your brain as the song comes to an end. Holy shit, man. What more can I say about Don't Break the Oath than I've already said, and what so many others have already said and written about this album, okay? It is a pivotal moment in heavy metal history, you know, and when you read the lyrics, when you hear them, the words on this album, I mean, there's so much more than the simple, you know, schlocky type stuff that you would get on a Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. That was obviously all image, okay? With King Diamond, I mean, sure, you can sit down and just listen to this stuff. You, as the listener, you don't have to take this shit seriously if you don't want to. You can just listen to it and say, man, this shit rocks, and I like the horror movie type vibe I'm getting from this stuff. It's fun, you know, and it adds like this dark, sinister edge, so I like that. But you also knew that King Diamond was coming at this from a much more real type thing, because he was really taking his own personal spiritual beliefs and he was sprinkling them throughout these words. Yeah, he was telling some horrific, fantastical, you know, tales, but he was also mixing in some of his own, like, you know, personal feelings and philosophies in there as well. You know, like when he'd say lines like, you say heaven, I say a castle of lies, you know, stuff like that. So in that regard, you could take King Diamond, you could take this album as a piece from top to bottom. Lyrically, you could take it a little bit more seriously than you could something like, you know, some of the more B-movie type bands. Bands where you knew that the writers of the lyrics, they really didn't have any conviction in their heart about the words that they were putting on the page and then regurgitating into a microphone. They didn't have any skin in the game. They didn't have any personal, you know, type of viewpoints that were really coming across. Nothing genuine. Well, with King Diamond, you felt like he was the real deal. He really was well-versed in occult literature, and he had his own spiritual beliefs that would shine through in his words, you know. He's concocting all of these horrific tales and everything, but he's also injecting some of his own worldview into them as well. So that just made it feel more complete and well-rounded as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, my friends, Don't Break the Oath. It's just quality from top to bottom. Like I said, really the only skippable track, in my opinion, on this album is Gypsy. And I mean that, man. It really is a skippable song to me, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna come as a shock to some people. I'm sure there are some people that that's one of their favorite tunes. But yeah, Gypsy is the one. If I had to pick one song that I feel like falls short of the level of quality that the rest of the songs exude, it would be Gypsy. Every other track on this damn album is fucking stellar. If I had to pick my 3 favorite songs, say I had to pick 3 tracks off this album as my favorites, I would say The Oath, Come to the Sabbath, and Night of the Unborn. If I just had to pick 3, those would be my 3 favorites. The Oath, Come to the Sabbath, and Night of the Unborn. So why don't you guys do me a favor and down in the comments section let me know what your 3 favorite tracks would be off this album. I want to know what your top 3 from Don't Break the Oath. Tell me what they would be because I'm curious to hear it. And like I said before, man, the only reason I like Melissa a little bit better than Don't Break the Oath is because I feel like Melissa just packs a better punch dynamically, sound-wise. As far as the songwriting and performances are concerned on Don't Break the Oath, they stack up excellently. They are a couple made in hell and true classics of the highest order. Now, I will be reviewing more Mercyful Fate in the future because the only 90s Mercyful Fate album that I've reviewed so far here on my channel is Into the Unknown, which is a kick-ass album, and you should definitely go back and check out that review if you've never watched it here on my channel, because that is a really good album. But, you know, I still need to review In the Shadows, and Time, and Dead Again, and Nine, and, you know, so there'll be plenty more, you know, Mercyful Fate stuff coming on my channel. I need to talk about all the Mercyful Fate albums because, as I've said before here on this channel, Mercyful Fate is one of my favorite bands of all time. They're in my top 5, and yeah, man, just riff after riff after riff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click thumbs up, and guess what? I'll be seeing you guys again next time.